Hello everyone, welcome back to another one of John's never-ending list of random things to do. For today's video, I will be working on my 1985 Toyota Celica Supra. I was performing some maintenance under the hood, and when I took a look up, I noticed these decals are unreadable. Looking over to my fuse box, I realized I'm missing this decal with all the fuse information. Here in the glove box, there's also a decal. It looks to be in decent shape, but let's see if we can replace it with a brand new one. Thanks to the guys at JP3 Motorsports, all of these decals can be replaced. I'll leave a link to these items in the video description below. I'll be starting by removing these two decals. Notice how dirty this area looks. The first thing I'll do is clean this area up using some soap and water and just scrubbing the area down. At this point, you might want to take a look at your decals and see if they are aligned to your liking. If you look at my decals carefully, you'll notice that it's a little crooked. But if you like where your decals are and you wish to place it in the original position, go ahead and mask off some of the outer edges. As a note, you may not have to mask off the outer edges. Once the decals are removed, you'll notice a difference in the paint color, which can be used as a template. Using a plastic razor, I'll go ahead and attempt to remove this decal. Okay, this looks like it's going to be tougher than I thought. So I had to bring out the heat gun. If you don't have access to a heat gun, you might be able to get away with a hairdryer. So now all you have to do is warm up the decal for a few seconds, then start scraping it off. As a note, since I was working outside and there was a cool breeze coming along, I constantly had to keep warming up the decal and remove small portions at a time. If you find the decal is coming off but not the adhesive, all you have to do is warm up the adhesive and scrape it off. The next few minutes will be just warming up the decal and scraping it off, so I'll go ahead and fast forward through it. If you remembered, I originally masked off the outer edge of the decal, but as you can see, the color is much brighter where the decal used to be. This will act as a template. If you look carefully, you'll notice there are residual adhesives still stuck to the paint. To remove it, all I did was spray alcohol and let it sit for about 5 minutes. Then I went on ahead and sprayed more alcohol, then scraped it off while it was still wet. Apply more alcohol if needed, then go ahead and start scraping away while it's still wet. Last of all, wipe the area down. And this is looking good. Now go ahead and repeat this process for the other decal. Before applying the two new decals, I went on ahead and sprayed some alcohol in this area. Then I wiped it down and let it completely dry. Now it's time to placing the new decals. Again, you can place them where the original decals were, or you can align it to your liking. Once you've placed the decal down, go ahead and use your fingers or a roller and completely remove all the air bubbles. Now go ahead and do the same for the other decal. Since I'm placing these decals where the original decals were, it's going to look crooked. Now go ahead and use your finger or roller and press all the bubbles out. This is looking good already. Now moving into the glove box. If you take a close look at the decal, you'll notice it's crooked. So when I'm placing my new decal, I'll be sure to straighten it up before I apply it. Using my plastic razor, I raised one corner of the decal. Once it looked like I could grip the corner, I went on ahead and held it and just peeled off the decal, and luckily everything came off in one piece. Now to remove the residual adhesive, I simply used a towel and soap and water, then I gave it a good scrubbing. While the surface is still wet with soap and water, you want to go over it with your scraping tool to remove some of the stubborn adhesive. Now using soap and water once again to scrub it real good. and you should end up with the surface looking like this. If you look carefully, you'll notice some of the outer adhesive didn't come off, but it's barely noticeable. So I went on ahead to install the decal. But before revealing the adhesive on the new decal, I went on ahead and aligned the decal to my liking. When I found that sweet center spot, I went on ahead and revealed the adhesive, then applied my decal. Now using your finger or roller, press out all the air bubbles. Now this new decal is a lot more centered than before, and again, the residual adhesive is barely noticeable. Last of all, I have this fuse box cover to work with, but this melted piece is bothering me. So I removed the fuse box cover, gave it a good scrubbing, filled in the crater with body filler, then sanded down the body filler. Now all there was left to do is to clean the surface. This is the paint I'll be using. To spray on a few good coats. Once the first coat has been applied, I let it dry for about 5 minutes. Then I reapplied another coat. I applied a total of 3 coats. Once the last coat has been applied, let it dry completely. And this is how it turned out. Now for the fuse box, there are 2 decals. There are a few differences on these 2 decals. The part number, the stop lamp fuse rating, and the Japanese writings. Now you might be wondering, which one's for my car? Thanks to Tanya Rose, a longtime Celica Supra supporter, and also has Celica Supra merchandise. I'll go ahead and leave a link to the merchandise in the video description below. Tanya was able to figure out the decal with the white letters belonged to an 82 through 85, and the decal with the yellow letters belonged to an 86. Tanya was also able to narrow the specific color decal for each year. If you own an 82 or an 83, your decal should be green. Check with JP3 Motorsports to see if this is a viable option. If you own an 84 or an 85, your decal should be white. And if you own an 86, your decal should be yellow. Now you should have an idea of which decal belongs to your car. So place the decal in a position of your liking. Once you've gotten that figured out, give the surface a good wipe, then apply the decal. You're probably wondering, John, don't you own an 85? Yes, I do, and this is the wrong decal, so I'll be changing it later. But if you applied the right decal, go ahead and use your finger or roller and press out all the air bubbles. Now all of these decals are fresh and most importantly, readable. I hope some of you found this video helpful. If you did and you liked it, go ahead and give me a thumbs up. And if you're not subscribed yet, go ahead and consider subscribing. Thank you all for watching, and I will see you guys for the next random project.